Everything you think you know about money is based on a myth, and once you understand who really needed money to exist, you'll never look at coins, cash, or credit the same way again. Most people are taught that money appeared simply because barter was inconvenient, that early humans struggled to trade grain for shoes or meat for tools until someone invented coins and everything became easier. It's a clean, logical story, but it's largely false. Money didn't emerge to make trade easier. It emerged because power needed a tool that could travel, scale, and enforce control. In small early communities, people didn't barter constantly at all. They lived on trust, memory, obligation, and social relationships. You gave because you belonged, and you received because you were known. Value wasn't abstract, it was social, and debt lived in memory, not on paper. That system worked well until societies grew larger. As villages became cities and strangers began interacting with no shared history, trust stopped scaling, memory broke down, obligations weakened, and violence increased. Rulers faced a problem barter could never solve. How do you feed armies, collect taxes, and extract value from people you'll never meet again? That's where money truly enters history, not as convenience, but as infrastructure. Value needed a physical body that could move across distance, survive time, and be counted without conversation. Food spoiled, animals wandered, land couldn't move, and labor vanished once it was used. Metal solved all of it. Copper, bronze, and silver didn't rot, could be divided precisely, melted, reshaped, and carried easily. They were scarce enough to matter, but common enough to circulate. Metal didn't just store value, it made value mobile. But it wasn't merchants who turned metal into money, it was states. Early governments didn't need money to trade with each other, they needed money to command. Armies don't fight on promises, and soldiers don't march on goodwill. They need standardized, enforceable payment. Once rulers demanded taxes payable in metal, entire populations were pulled into markets whether they wanted to participate or not. To obtain metal, people had to sell goods, labor, or time. Markets didn't naturally emerge, they were engineered by taxation and authority. Money didn't weaken rulers, it made them dramatically more efficient. And once value could be extracted at scale, it could be stored, accumulated, and converted into force. That's why early financial centers weren't marketplaces, but temples and palaces. Accounting existed before coinage, ledgers before markets. The system was built top down, not bottom up. The real revolution came when rulers began stamping metal with official marks. A coin didn't just standardize trade, it transferred trust from human relationships to authority. You no longer had to trust the person handing you money. You only had to trust whoever controlled its issuance. Faces, gods, and emblems stamped onto coins weren't decoration, they were political messages quietly reinforcing who ruled every time value changed hands. And once rulers realized they controlled money, temptation followed by reducing metal content or issuing more coins than reserves justified. Governments learned they could spend now and delay consequences. Inflation wasn't a modern discovery, it was born the moment money became adjustable, prices rose, trust weakened, and yet the system endured because once money existed, societies couldn't go back. The tool was too powerful. Over time, money stopped being just a tool and became an environment. Wealth could accumulate across generations, debt could be enforced, obligations transferred, and inequality preserved long after its original causes disappeared. Empires rose and fell, symbols changed, but the underlying logic remained. Modern money may no longer be metal, but it still carries the same DNA. It's backed by authority, obligation, and enforcement, not neutrality or fairness. Money was never designed to be fair, it was designed to scale. Understanding this doesn't mean rejecting money, it means seeing it clearly. Because once metal became money, power became portable, and that single shift reshaped human behavior, hierarchy, and history itself.